So it's very timely that it actually aligns with basically what Aris and Foom has spoken about. So, given the title that it's for the community, designing better places, and the social responsibility of architects, I want to pin down on two keywords: better and social. So, as Foom has also mentioned, a lot of these words, these keywords, are very intangible, and I am glad that I've also educated and learned a thing or two, even with the short talk of Foom in terms of conservation. I actually believe in those things. So, in terms of better and in terms of social, it is highly intangible in terms of these qualities. Yet, as architects, we are expected to have tangible results because obviously we build form and we build something that is very tactile and very physical. Yet, I think there has to be more than just that. Building better places is not only the architect's job, and it is a holistic environment for all, from public sector, stakeholders, community. But I know we're a big part of that. So by saying the word better, there's are certain keywords that I also want to correlate in terms of being better. First off, as you've also known, my design practice deal with a lot of experimentation and form finding. And yes, admittedly, it is very a majority of our works are very domestic and very private. Yet we cannot espouse innovation or experimentation to our community if we cannot even provide some decency towards um, their life in terms of probably even the space as responsible architects. So in a way, it kind of relates to what Aris has said, where there has to be that culture even as small as our office or an organization just like UAPGA or the firms that are here or the organizations, that there is should be a culture for us not to settle, and that's a very explicit stepping stone for us to at least create better places. Aside from that, we also know that things are always evolving, and this is something that we always have to adapt. That something that is always in the past does not work, and in a way as well, it kind of relates again to what Fooms is mentioning. So that evolution is very crucial for us to at least advance and create again the definition of better. Where probably during the 70s, better places was concentric, very car centric, where right now we have also realized that it may not be the case, and therefore people has to be first rather than other things, since we people, environment, humans, and of course you're gonna speak about that in a series of events for the next couple of days. Another thing that it has to be very crucial, especially when we're creating projects for the community, is it has to be generational. When we were doing this chapel for the community, it's a campus, so it's not, it's still quite an isolated aspect, but it actually still symbolizes a community of the school, community of the alumni, community of the parents. So it kinds of increases the the frame, the network, where we still have to treasure the past while developing the future. So again, I'm very glad that it kind of aligns as well. Doesn't always have to be aligned. It's always nice to have also conflicting uh, um, conversations. But as of now, I feel that there is still an alignment in terms of really looking in what is true in terms of making it better. I borrowed this graph from Abi Mapua of Hi-Fi of Saint connected with School of Design and Arts of Saint Benilde, and it shows you where, in terms of how we uh, treat change, probably, or where we want to go. Admittedly, I want to go into transformation. That's my agenda. Something that evolves in turning things that are uh, turning things into better, or changing things into probably better. you will see this graph that there is added when you put two things together, like if it's just hope and nostalgia, then you keep on just saying, oh, during those times, those were the days. And I think that is not a good thing to aspire, because you will never move forward. While having nostalgia and fear will have a total collapse for society. And let me be political about it, maybe, in my own opinion. There might be, in terms of traditional leadership, where we wanted to create some change, some revolution, but of course, there's fear involved. So, of course, that sense will just say, just no need for you to buy in, just follow. So there's a specific control where I think a lot of our a lot, probably half of our population would not agree on, something that is also still debatable. However, I truly believe that there is a specific transformation in terms of course, creating that hope, yet something that's revolutionary. It has to have something that needs to change. Okay. And let me go to this word social. Now, social is definitely something that needs to connect. And this is something that is very apparent in where we are not connected nowadays because of what of the crisis that is happening now, and it sort of destroys a natural human phenomenon. And probably as architects, we have to deal with certain things that how do we design spaces that are in this realm of placemaking, creating community involvement, sense of place, sense of pride, sense of purpose. It's not a shiny silver building that you just place on, which is probably per se a flaw and a celebration of, let's say, a Bilbao effect. It did create a sense of pride for Bilbao. It did create a sense of community, and it is a shiny titanium building. But if you move forward and just really interpreting that in towards really just making flashy architecture, as much as I have some inclinations towards that, it is still the responsibility of the architect to really be a little bit more authentic. It has to be in our attempt to be authentic. This is a very noble project, what of course Will, our last speaker, has done. And of course, this is a thing that kind of probably since early on during the ECQ kind of banded together the profession. And this is the one that we did in Cebu. We took the cost because this is something out of no ego. You have to see what works, what can happen for the community, what is needed, and we should not necessarily always have to reinvent the wheel. That was a very sound solution for Will and Rika and the other groups, Denise, and even the engineers that were there. It's a whole group that helped on with this initiative. While here in Cebu, we had to do our part as well. And I came in into the picture when they were trying to design facilities as well, just like this. And I really said, as much as an architect can always design something else, I said, let's follow Will's footprint, blueprint, because it's there. They've shared it. It works. And of course, that is very crucial in terms of really setting aside ego and really looking what needs to be done. So I can imagine as well, how many did you guys make? 1,000 beds, maybe a few hundred facilities there in Luzon. And I have to commend the whole group's sheer determination and collaboration, because I've only probably did 300 beds, a few facilities, and then I can really feel it. And this quality is crucial in our profession, or in any sense that there has to be determination in terms of driving an agenda or a purpose. And because of that, there came about a sense of community and collaboration where a lot of us, colleagues of ours, really banded up, asking one another, helping each other how to get things through. Imagine that when we sustain it for decades and decades. Because this is something that was, of course, in an isolated mode. How to sustain that is our challenge to really ensure a better place and better social responsibility. Because I believe that charity is not sustainable. This is happens, and this has always been criticized with the Philippines, where we are always in the sense of helping, which is very important, very Filipino, very humanistic. But we can't do this all the time. There has to be a lot of preparation. There has to be a lot of realization and acknowledgement to prepare, to plan. At the end of the day, it has to be policy, because these are things that we probably say, when will the public sector ever listen to us, private sector or the citizens? Yet I would still go back to what we can do. The government can do their thing, and it is their responsibility to run the nation, to ensure safety for the people, to ensure safety for and quality of life for our citizens. But it shouldn't stop us from doing something else. Where on our side, on the private sector, or as an individual, I believe creating excellent work creates credibility, and credibility actually creates this leadership where even the public sector can listen. I've worked with a few government projects. Well, one or two, yes, I've done it. They actually listen as long as you know and you've seen that you can actually explain them properly. You can actually be part of as a stakeholder and communicate them properly as well. Iris would probably be has done that as well with UP. Escuela Talera for sure with Heritage, and of course Will. I'm sure you're doing it in a much larger scale. So that's where, of course, where we can really hinge on in terms of really ensuring a better place and social responsibility. That's it for me.